Um, so one thing a couple of things I'd like to say in general about speaking. Um, your goal for the purposes of this test is to make sure that you're well understood by the person who will be grading your test. And so there are a couple of skills or habits that I want you to practice during this test that might be a little different from how you speak outside of class. Because right now, you're studying specifically to pass this test. The purpose of this class is not necessarily to teach you a lot of new knowledge, new vocabulary, new constructions. It's to help you train to do your best on this test. And that makes your job easier because you have a very narrow focus. You want to learn how to do well on this test, how to focus on the kinds of tasks that it gives you and how to answer them satisfactorily. And you don't have to really study for anything broader than that when it comes to this test. So part of that when you're speaking is that I know I did it myself. We've all made the mistake of trying to speak as quickly as we can, thinking or believing that will impress the listener that we speak well or something. And what inevitably happens is that, after a sentence or two, maybe at most, we hit a dead end because we can't think of the word we want to say, and then it just comes to a stop, and then we're until we can think of the word we want to say, and then we go on again. So it is much better. In fact, it's the most important in your speech on this test to speak just in a consistent, steady flow of speech. And even if that speech is fairly slow, as I'm sort of doing now, you can see that it's consistent at one steady pace, and it flows at one rate. That's the most important thing for you to do to demonstrate your proficiency speaking English, which is not really that hard to do. The second thing you can do, which will help a lot, I know it may be a little difficult because we all have different sounds that we use in our native language and sounds that are foreign to us. For the American listener, they will have a much easier time understanding you, and I'm going to exaggerate here, but I want you to exaggerate in class as we speak. It is important to pronounce clearly the ends of the words you are saying, especially the consonants. They will make it much clearer what you are saying than if you don't. Because if you do not pronounce clearly, the words can run together. Okay, so that's an example of speaking clearly, and that goes along with speaking slowly. But it's better to speak what might seem to you to be slow, but to speak clearly and be easily understood, because the purpose is for you to be understood. So in class, let's practice that going slowly and pronouncing things, exaggerating in class the ends of the words.